Just like last week, the king faced a heckler.
Charles, how long have you known about Andrew?
The teddy bears became public knowledge in 2022 during Virginia Giuffre's civil lawsuit against Prince Andrew. Palace staff, speaking to reporters, described a daily routine. Dozens of stuffed animals arranged on his bed in a specific formation, with a photograph showing their exact placement so they could be returned correctly after cleaning.
This is what the Sun has given us. But the question is, what's wrong with this? He's a grown man, so what? So it appears that he has a black panther towards the bottom front right of the bed, a hippo in the middle. He has 3 pillows which say Daddy, Ducks and Prince.
One staff member recalled being reprimanded for positioning a teddy incorrectly. This detail emerged not during Andrew's years of royal duties, but during the collapse of his public standing, when minor eccentricities suddenly carried interpretive weight they never possessed before. The timing matters. Personal quirks become symbolic when credibility has already fractured. The teddy bears didn't damage Andrew's reputation. They illustrated something the public was already sensing but couldn't articulate. They provided a tangible image for an abstract suspicion that this was a man whose emotional development had been suspended by the very structures meant to prepare him for responsibility.
A card the inspector showed us in a drawer, and it's a picture of these bears all in situ on the bed. And the reason for the laminated picture was that if those bears weren't put back in the right order by the maids, he would shout and scream and become verbally abusive.
The facts are straightforward. Staff reported that Andrew traveled with the stuffed animals and expected them maintained in precise order. The collection numbered approximately 72 pieces. Housekeepers were given specific instructions about arrangement. These weren't childhood keepsakes stored in a closet. They were active participants in his daily environment, curated and controlled. The detail spread rapidly through British media, then internationally.
What we know about Prince Andrew at the moment, and I know these are all still allegations, but regarding the Virginia Giuffre case, it looks very sort of creepy to think of a grown man
becoming shorthand for arrested development within privilege. What people miss is that the teddy bears weren't strange because adults shouldn't have comfort objects. Many do. The strangeness lay in the institutionalization of the comfort, the formalization of something meant to be private into a system requiring staff compliance. It revealed not just personal need, but an expectation that personal need would be accommodated without question, that the world would arrange itself around his emotional requirements. This is where power and psychology intersect. Control rituals emerge when internal regulation fails. When someone cannot manage their emotional state independently, they externalize that management onto their environment. For most people, this has natural limits. Reality pushes back. But when you possess sufficient authority, reality doesn't push back, it rearranges itself.
Different reasons. It's quite nice to have a sentimental teddy kicking about, but it's just the attachment and the fact that he's so precise on where he needs them to be.
How many did you think you had in the attic?
It's probably 2.
2. Do you know how many he had?
How many?
60.
Oh.
Now, Femi, 60. You didn't have 60, did you, Femi?
Staff don't question. Protocols form. The ritual becomes normalized, then invisible to the person performing it. The psychological term is emotional outsourcing. The teddy bears, in their precise arrangement, functioned as an external regulator, a way of creating predictability and control in an environment where emotional predictability should have been developed internally. This isn't pathological in itself. It becomes significant when combined with complete insulation from consequences. Andrew never had to confront the strangeness of his needs because no one with authority over him existed to create that confrontation. Privilege delays emotional reckoning. When you are told from birth that you are important, when your preferences become other people's obligations, when discomfort is always addressed by others rather than managed by you, development freezes. Not completely, not in all areas, but in the specific capacity to self-correct, to feel appropriate shame, to recognize when your behavior has crossed social boundaries. The teddy bears didn't cause this. They were evidence of it. Consider what didn't happen. No one in his circle apparently said, "This is unusual. This might reflect something worth examining." Or if they did, their input carried no weight. The system surrounding Andrew functioned to enable rather than challenge. This is not unique to him. It's characteristic of institutional power that answers to no one, where the person at the center becomes the sun around which everything else orbits, rather than a participant in shared reality. The uncomfortable truth is that the teddy bears became important not because they were abnormal, but because they were perfectly normal within his world. They represented the logical endpoint of unchallenged authority, a grown man whose emotional needs had been so thoroughly accommodated that he never had to develop adult coping mechanisms. And when that same man faced serious allegations, civil, not criminal, settled, not proven, the teddy bears provided the public with a concrete image of something they already suspected, that his judgment and his sense of appropriate boundaries might have been similarly underdeveloped. This is not legal evidence. It proves nothing about behavior outside his bedroom. But symbolically, it was devastating precisely because it was so mundane. It wasn't scandalous. It was sad. Sad in a way that made people uncomfortable because it suggested that power, unchecked, produces emotional children with adult authority. The media framed it as eccentricity, but eccentricity suggests harmless idiosyncrasy.
Comments on the right which exonerate him by saying he hasn't actually done anything. What do you think about Andrew? And should he be cut loose from the royal family completely? Should he be kicked out of his house?
Yeah, look, all I know is this was a guy who stated
Have
very...
you met him?
This was structural. The teddy bears required a system of people to maintain them. They weren't a private quirk, they were a demand placed on others, normalized through repetition until everyone involved forgot it wasn't normal at all. The real revelation was about institutional dysfunction. Any system that allows someone to reach their 60s without developing emotional self-sufficiency has failed at its foundational task. The monarchy positions itself as preparing people for leadership and duty. The teddy bears suggested it had prepared Andrew for neither, just for being accommodated. What remains isn't the strangeness of the detail itself, but what it exposed: power that never learned it could be wrong, comfort that never required justification, authority that never faced the ordinary human necessity of growing up. The teddy bears weren't the scandal. They were the evidence that no one had ever been positioned to create one, that Andrew had lived his entire life in an environment where his needs, however childlike, were simply met without question. They weren't symbols of innocence. They were symbols of authority that never learned to self-correct.